Starting this video off with hopes that will help you increase your Legion gains. I still remember going from 4k Legion to 6k, then to 8k. But after 6k Legion, it really started to pick up because of all the bonus attack stats. One thing I'll say is that these 12 classes by far were the easiest, and I'll explain why in each demonstration. Each of these classes all had something that made them really overpowered and made leveling really fast. For example, Lara would do a ton of damage. Marksman had a special skill where the more mobs you hit, the more damage you do. Mage classes would have infinity and elemental advantage, like some mobs being weak to fire or ice. And some classes just straight up had a lot of damage and a lot of good damage summons. Summons that did a lot of damage. In this video, specifically this Legion Mule had no Star Force or Epic Potential or anything, and was practically two-shotting mobs or one-shotting with nothing basically. This class is very overpowered in the early game, and it is known as one of the best mobbers in the game, period. One thing about Ice Lightning Mage is that they have infinity, but that's not the main reason that this class is very good. It's summons, and it's the fact that their ice and lightning is weak to many of the mobs in the Twilight Empyrean maps, so it's very good for quick leveling in that, from like 180 to 200. One thing about Beast Tamers are actually known to be very good at mobbing, but they're actually very, very good, and they do a lot of damage without any sort of funding or anything like that. It's just how in burn mode, you can practically stay in burn mode for the whole time, and like the moves by default, like their base damage is very high. That's why this class is very quick to level to 200. The great thing about Bishop is how there's undead type of mobs, and they do like at least double the amount of damage to them. So leveling to 200 is very fast, and having Holy Symbol with that, which was 70% more EXP, made this class amazing to level to 200. Thing about Dawn Warrior, honestly, all I can say about Dawn Warrior is that they just do a lot of damage, and they have a summon that does a decent amount of damage, but they just do a lot of damage by themselves. The thing about Marksman is that they have this one skill. Let's say, for example, you hit 7 mobs in one shot of arrow, right? Each mob after the first one, your final damage increases by like 10 or 20%. I'm not really sure exactly, but it's like by the time you hit the seventh or eighth mob, you do like 3 times the amount of damage you're normally supposed to do. And this was actually great for many reasons. It was mostly because when you're mobbing at that level, at like level 190, it feels good to be able to like one shot them 5, 6 mobs each time you hit. It's like it made everything really fast, and having a teleporter, it just made everything way better. And they actually do a lot of damage by themselves. My personal opinion on Luminous is that they do a decent amount of damage, and the reflection skill just hits has a really good hitbox. That's the main reason leveling to 200 is really fast. Thing about Thunderbreak is that they do a lot of lines at once, and like they hit a lot over and over again, and they have these combos where it feels like you're hitting a mob 1,000 times before it actually dies, and you don't really need funding to level it up. As you can even tell in the video, you notice I wasn't even hitting 2 million lines of damage. And I was practically one shotting the mobs. The thing about Hoyoung is that their kit is very good. For one, before level 140, you have a summon that you can't really use. You don't have 100% uptime on. After you get to level 140, you have this hyper that lets you summon it 24/7 basically, and it's amazing. It does a lot of damage and it clears that part of the map instantly, basically. And you also have a ton of different skills you can combo through, and some of them actually just one shot the mobs by default because it does a lot of damage. And and they work together so well. And sometimes there's some maps where you can just sit in one spot and like use 2 different moves and clear the whole map. It's an amazing class, honestly. Honestly, all I can say about Xenon is that they do a decent amount of damage. Their mobbing skills have a lot of versatility, and they have a pretty good summon. The amazing thing about Demon Slayer is that their skills have a 100% built-in critical rate. They also have a move called Demon Cry, which gives them the EXP bonus, and their mobbing skills actually do a good amount of damage by themselves. It's a very good class. For me personally, what I loved about Pathfinder was that how they already have a lot of critical rate. Like their base critical rate is really high. They also have very good mobbing skills where it practically hits a triple plats if platforms are close enough. It also has pretty good mobility for sometimes you can move around the map and time everything perfectly as like you're teleporting like a mage class. Overall, they do a very good amount of damage too.